Close your eyes and picture a Saturday on the high street in the 1970s or 80s. The air is alive with chatter, shop doors creak open, and the warm smell of fresh bread drifts from the bakery. Back then, the high street wasn't just a place to shop, it was the heart of our towns. Every store had its own character, its own little rituals. Some were grand department stores, others tiny family-run gems, but all were woven into daily life. Today, we're taking a nostalgic stroll to remember 10 high street shops every Brit misses, and why they mattered. Number 10. Littlewoods, catalogue dreams come true. Littlewoods stores were the physical heart of a retail empire built on its famous catalogue. In the 70s and 80s, you could step inside and see, touch, and try the clothes and products you'd circled at home in the big glossy book. From menswear to children's clothes, homeware to toys, Littlewoods carried it all. The shop floors were airy and inviting, with helpful staff who seemed genuinely pleased to serve you. It was also a place of seasonal excitement. The Christmas department was a treasure trove of decorations, gift sets, and the year's most wanted toys. For many families, Littlewoods represented both aspiration and accessibility. You could order what you needed, often on credit, and pay it off in manageable amounts. While the stores disappeared as shopping habits changed, the memory of browsing Littlewoods and the thrill of flipping through its catalogue remains a cherished slice of British retail history. Number 9. Radio rentals, bringing TV to the living room. Before televisions became affordable for everyone, radio rentals brought the magic of broadcast into countless British homes. Families could rent a set for a weekly fee, with the company delivering, installing, and even repairing it when needed. For many in the 70s and 80s, this was how the big moments of television history were shared, from royal weddings to World Cup matches. The delivery man was a familiar figure, cheerfully wheeling the bulky set into place and adjusting the picture before leaving. As technology advanced and prices fell, the idea of renting faded. But in its time, radio rentals made TV ownership possible for those who might otherwise have missed out. Its name conjures images of families gathered in living rooms, curtains drawn, all eyes fixed on the flickering screen as the theme music to the nation's favorite shows filled the air. Number 8. BHS, British Home Stores. BHS was the shop where you could find a bit of everything, and where you always left with more than you intended. Clothing for the whole family, bedding, curtains, kitchenware, and lighting were all displayed in neat, inviting sections. It was practical yet homely, the sort of place where shopping didn't feel rushed. The in-store cafe was a quiet delight. Tea poured from stainless steel pots, Victoria sponge served on china plates, and a seat by the window to watch the world go by. For many, BHS was the go-to for Christmas shopping, summer sale hunting, or simply browsing on a rainy afternoon. In the 70s and 80s, it was a dependable part of the high street landscape. When it closed in 2016, the empty units left behind a tangible hole, not just in shopping choice, but in the gentle, familiar rhythm of weekend trips to town. Number 7. John Menzies, the newsagent giant. Part newsagent, part bookshop, part record store, John Menzies was a high street treasure. The moment you walked in, you were greeted by the scent of fresh ink and paper, mingled with a hint of vinyl from the music section. Racks of magazines tempted browsers, while paperbacks lined the shelves for readers of all ages. Children often made a beeline for the comic section, flipping through the latest Beano or Dandy, while parents picked up the Radio Times or a Sunday novel. The shop was also a haven for music lovers, with rows of cassette tapes and LPs ready to sample. In an age before one-stop online shops, John Menzies was where you could lose yourself for an hour without spending much at all. By the late 90s, many locations became W.H. Smith, but the old name still brings back the warm, dusty charm of a place where words and music lived side by side. Number 6. Fine Fare, the Golden Supermarket. With its bright yellow and black signage, Fine Fare was impossible to miss. In the 70s and 80s, it was one of Britain's leading supermarkets, offering a cheerful, modern alternative to the smaller corner shop. Families would push trolleys down wide aisles, filling them with everything from fresh bread and fruit to tinned goods and frozen fish fingers. The in-store bakery filled the air with the irresistible smell of warm loaves, while the chilled section brought a welcome blast of cool air on hot summer days. For many, Fine Fare represented a new kind of convenience, the weekly big shop, all under one roof. It was also known for its value ranges, helping households stretch their budgets. By the late 80s, Fine Fare had been absorbed by the D Corporation and rebranded, but for those who grew up with it, the name still recalls bustling Saturday mornings and the comforting clatter of shopping trolleys on tiled floors. Number 5. Timothy White's The Chemist of Choice. Long before the high street was dominated by one or two giant pharmacy brands, Timothy White's was the friendly, dependable chemist in many towns. Known for its neat shelves of toiletries, household remedies, and baby care items, it had a practical, homely charm. In some locations, it even sold small household goods, a kettle, a teapot, or an ironing board cover, making it a handy stop for everyday needs. The staff often knew customers by name, asking after family members as they wrapped purchases in paper bags. By the late 60s, Boots had taken over Timothy White's, but many branches carried on into the 80s under the old name, keeping that familiar identity alive a little longer. For many shoppers, it's remembered not just for what it sold, but for the neighborly service and the feeling that this was a place where you were more than just another face in the queue. Number 4. Freeman, Hardy and Willis, shoes for every occasion. For generations, Freeman, Hardy and Willis was where British families went for quality footwear. The moment you stepped inside, the air was filled with the rich smell of polished leather and the soft squeak of new soles on wooden floors. Back-to-school shopping was a cherished ritual here, sitting on a high stool while the assistant gently measured your feet with the iconic metal gauge. Shoes arrived in neat boxes lined with tissue paper, and there was always that first walk around the carpeted fitting area, testing how they felt. Whether it was sturdy school shoes, shiny evening heels, or sensible boots for winter, you could trust they'd last. In the 70s and 80s, the chain was still a fixture, but rising competition and changing fashions eventually led to its decline in the 90s. Still, for those who remember, nothing quite matches the care and ceremony of buying shoes at Freeman, Hardy and Willis. Number 3. Rumbelows, the electrical treasure trove. Before the internet, before massive out-of-town electronics warehouses, there was Rumbelows, a wonderland for anyone fascinated by gadgets and home appliances. In the 70s and 80s, it was where families bought their first color television, their first VHS recorder, or a brand new kettle that whistled cheerfully on the hob. Rows of televisions all played the same broadcast in perfect sync, drawing children like moths to a flame. Sales staff would proudly demonstrate the latest cassette deck, letting you press the buttons yourself or explain the magic of a microwave oven. Rumbelows didn't just sell, they rented, making it possible for households to enjoy technology they might otherwise not afford. It was a shop of possibility and modernity, the place where the future seemed just within reach. But as prices dropped and competition grew, the chain faded away in the mid-1990s, leaving behind the warm glow of its showroom lights in our memories. Number 2. C&A, fashion for the family. C&A was the place where British families could dress for every occasion without emptying their wallets. Its bold blue and red logo was a fixture on high streets up and down the country, and in the 70s and 80s it was a household name. The shop carried everything: sturdy school uniforms, cozy winter coats, Sunday best dresses, and even the occasional trendy piece for the more fashion-forward. Stepping inside, you'd catch the faint scent of fresh fabric and hear the quiet rustle of hangers as shoppers flicked through rails. For children, there was the ritual of trying on new term-time clothes while parents assessed the growing room. C&A struck a balance between affordable and respectable, making it a safe bet for families. When it withdrew from the UK in 2001, it left behind decades of memories, of Christmas shopping trips, summer sale bargains, and the feeling of leaving the store with a brand new outfit in a crisp paper bag. Number 1. Woolworths, the nation's store. For much of the 20th century, Woolworths was more than just a shop, it was a national institution. Founded in Britain in 1909, it quickly became the store for everyone, and by the 1970s and 80s, it was the heart of the high street. Stepping through its doors was stepping into a world of possibilities. Racks of vinyl records for the music fan, shelves of toys that seemed to stretch forever, homeware stacked neatly alongside school supplies, and of course the legendary pick and mix. Children clutched paper bags, weighing them carefully as they slipped in another cola bottle or foam shrimp, hoping the scales wouldn't tip too far. You might leave with a new saucepan, a single for your record player, or a bag of jelly babies, and all without breaking the bank. When Woolworths closed its doors in 2009, it felt as though the high street had lost one of its most familiar and comforting faces. These shops weren't just places to buy things. They were part of our routines, our growing up years, and our sense of community. They marked the seasons, from back-to-school shoe fittings to the sparkle of Christmas window displays. They were the backdrop to family Saturdays, teenage hangouts, and quick chats with familiar faces behind the counter. When they disappeared, the high street lost more than bricks and mortar, it lost a little piece of its heart. But memories have a way of keeping the past alive. Whether it's the smell of new leather shoes, the rustle of catalogue pages, or the joy of a paper bag full of pick and mix, these moments still live on. Which of these high street favorites do you miss the most? Share your stories in the comments. We'd love to hear them. And if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, like, subscribe, and join us for more British Rewind.